Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now let's talk a little bit about Canelo Alvarez before I go to my next little thing I gotta go to. You know how it is. Still in therapy, trying to get myself together, back on my feet. You know what I mean? Talk a little bit about Canelo. But first we're gonna talk about number 2 pound for pound. And that'll be Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. Now, I know people be like, well, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. Well, that's America for you. We can't have somebody as awesome as Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade and we just ignore him. That only happens in America. If Demetrius Andrade was from any other country, he'd be a star in that country, right? We know he's awesome. We know people avoid him. We know the biggest stars in his divisions avoided him. Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin, who have these monikers of face of boxing, the best one in boxing, number 1 pound for pound in boxing, or as Gennady Golovkin is the best middleweight in the last 25 years, a hard puncher, and this and that. But did everything not to fight this guy, even though this guy was went to the zone to fight under the same promotion company, same network as they are, and after he beat somebody, who do they start calling? Somebody from another network, Jamal Charlo, instead of Canelo and Gennady Golovkin. Not to mention when he was the champion, 2-division champion, 154, Canelo was his mandatory, said no, and he said it at 160. So, my point here is Demetrius Andrade is my number 2 pound for pound because of those reasons. Because if you're whack, you won't get avoided like that. Canelo would have took a fight for $40 million to beat his ass and then become undisputed at middleweight. You would have took that fight if he wasn't named Demetrius Andrade. If you could have got a championship at 154 pounds by just beating somebody with a title that wasn't Demetrius Andrade, you would have done that too, right? So that's just simple. We can talk about it all we want. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Demetrius Andrade versus Canelo, anytime now, back when he's at 160 or 154, would be Canelo's best opponent, right? All them people Canelo done fought. Let's be straight up, best opponent. And the only ones that you be like, so, well, wait a minute, now, is he better than Floyd Mayweather? Yeah. At the age Floyd Mayweather was, and how small Floyd Mayweather was? Yeah. Lara? Yeah, because he's as good as Lara defensively with a little bit more punching power and a little bit bigger and taller than Lara. Yeah. Demetrius Bivol, only one. Right about now. Demetrius Bivol is the only one I say, oh, okay, now that one's about even, right? Other than that, the Amir Khans, the Callum Smiths, the Billy Joe Saunders, whoever else, the Gennady Golovkins, and them the hard ones. I ain't talking about the Yildirim's, did I? And all of them, and the Kirklands, and the old Shane Mosleys and all of that. Demetrius Andrade will be Canelo's hardest opponent now, then, or whenever, right? So the reason why are you talking about Demetrius Andrade? He ain't got a fight coming up. That's probably why. Because people try to ignore the fact that Demetrius Andrade, Canelo could be fighting Andrade right now, right? Instead of taking a pay cut to fight John Ryder with 5 losses. And Demetrius Andrade is way better than John Ryder. And if he would fight Demetrius Andrade, the zone would be making some money. But they'd rather lose some money and not kick Canelo out of the zone for continuously fighting these people that they didn't want him to fight. When he had a 10 fight, $345 million deal, right? And they just asked him, hey, man, you can fight Demetrius Andrade. We got him signed here. Then he wanted to get out of the deal, right? Right? People call Demetrius Andrade a horrible fighter. That's what he calls Demetrius Andrade. A horrible fighter. But I'm about to go fight Yildirim right now. A horrible fighter. But hey, can I fight Macabu? A horrible fighter. I just got through beating up a little old Amir Khan. A horrible fighter, but my whole resume ain't nobody on there better than him. Right? You can play that game if you want to, but I always gonna mention Demetrius Andrade because he's a Negro League fighter. And what is the definition of those? Fighters that we know are awesome but not getting they just due. And they mostly Negroes. Only one on there that ain't Negro is Alexander Usyk. Because as bad as he is, he still ain't getting the props he's supposed to deserve because Alexander Usyk done some legendary stuff, right? You ain't got to be a Negro to be on the Negro League fighters, but these fighters, Demetrius Andrade has been around as a champion, 2-division, since 2013, and these dudes who don't want to fight him are more famous than him. So I mention that from time to damn time, right? Another thing about Canelo, right, real quick. A lot of people say, well, Canelo was on the downside. He's getting to the point where, he's should be retiring soon, or he's lost a step. No, he ain't. He beats people up that are not that great, And when he steps up in competition, don't matter if it's now or then. What was he? Was he losing a step when he fought Laura? So what was he then? Was he losing a step when he was fighting Floyd Mayweather? No. Was he losing a step when he fought Gennady Golovkin in the first fight? Not really. Daniel Jacobs. Well, he beat Jacobs, right? But if you really look at it and stop giving Canelo just props for when he's doing something and not Danny Jacobs, that's a close fight too. So when would he start losing a step? Right? If he would have fought Demetrius Andrade in 2013, was we going to be saying he's losing a step, or was he too young? If he would have fought him in 2017 at the middleweight division for Undisputed, would he been losing the step? He ain't losing the step. It's just the bottom line is he's about to be surrounded by people he's going to have to fight, right? And no matter who it is, if it's either one of the Charlos, if it's Demetrius Andrade, if it's David Morrell, David Benavidez, Beterbiev, or Dimitri Bivol. Either one of those fights is going to cause him trouble, and we all know it. That's probably why we don't want to see him do it. He ain't losing a step. Canelo is a good fighter. He's just not the best fighter out there. And all I'm asking is for people to just acknowledge that and stop with the shenanigans. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.